Are you trying to figure out the secret to happiness? Well, here at What Makes You Happy with Jake Pearson, we want to make that happiness more accessible for you in your life. So stick around as we interview everyday people, inspirational leaders, and your favorite celebrities on what makes them happy. Welcome back to the podcast where we ask the question, what makes you happy? My name is Jake Pearson, and today we have with us the founder of the app Confidential Conversations, which is a platform that offers online anonymous support groups to people who are suffering from mental health issues. We have Nisha L from Zurich, Switzerland. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Jake.
I'm super excited to talk to you today. Could you just tell us a little bit about the app before we get into the episode? Confidential Conversations, what is that all about?
Sure. So thanks for asking. It's an app that was developed basically out of a need that I found myself. I mean, anyone who has suffered mental health issues has probably gone through some pretty dark periods in their time. And what I realized was, in order to pull myself out, what I really needed was people who understood me, people who could understand what I was going through, try to help me rationalize my feelings. But at that time, I honestly did not have the financial means to afford a therapist, nor did I have the time or the willingness to invest into such a long-term commitment. What I really needed was a kind of, let's say, quick and dirty workaround where I could connect with other people who I wouldn't have to really give a lot of background or explanation because they're suffering from the same thing I am. And if I could explain what I was going through, hopefully they would be able to provide some tips, some ideas, some routines. Man, at that point I was so down, I was honestly just willing to try anything that even sounded unorthodox or weird.
Wonderful. Nisha, tell me, what makes you happy?
I think I've narrowed it down to kind of two driving factors that make me happy. One is stargazing. This makes me just incredibly happy, being able to sit outside on my balcony or on my terrace and stare up at the universe and realize how small I am, how insignificant my problems are, how much I over-dramatize situations probably. It just, for me, helps put things so much in perspective. Meditation and these kind of things, unfortunately, just don't work for me. But this seems to give me that same calming feeling of just being able to look up in the sky and feel so grateful for the fact that I'm alive in this moment and that we are all kind of being able to have lives and contribute to something bigger than ourselves. I think that's one major factor in contributing to my mental well-being and my happiness for sure. And the other one is working 4 days a week. So this I really had to negotiate, and I'm waiting for the day that this becomes the standard globally, where it's just a 4-day work week everywhere, because I can't tell you what it's done for my mental health and for my mental well-being. It's such a game changer.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And that kind of ties into the last question I wanted to ask you. If one of our audience members just happened to meet you in the street and said, hey, look, I'm struggling to find what makes me happy, I need some advice, what would you say to them in that moment?
The salesperson in me would say, you should download my app. But I would never say that, actually, if I met someone on the street. But I would say, taking time for yourself and being able to really prioritize what's important for you. And that's a long exercise, to be honest. It's not something that can be done in a day or a week. But really being able to understand, okay, if I earn this much and I have 1 day off a week, is that still manageable for me? Can I still maintain my lifestyle, my finances, my whatever other obligations I have, but still, have some time for myself? I think it's so important. I know you've mentioned, a lot of your guests before have mentioned also being outdoors. I also think that that's incredibly important. I mean, luckily I live in a country that has tons of stuff to do outdoors, and you're almost being peer pressure to be outdoors most of the time. So I think that's also incredibly good. But I think happiness is a subjective thing. A lot of things are different for a lot of different people. For me, being able to have balance in my life, being able to really prioritize my work, yes, but prioritize all of the other things that are equally, if not more important, is for me where I gain happiness. And I think what I would say is, what does happiness mean for you? Does it mean having a lot of money? Does it mean, being able to flaunt your wealth? Does it mean being able to do something meaningful for someone else? I think that's really where the journey begins when it comes to happiness.
Beautiful. Asking yourself, what it means to you is always it's a loaded question. Like I'm asking you right now, what makes you happy? It's a loaded question, but it takes time to unwind that and unravel it and sort of figure it out. And it always evolves too. So beautiful. Thank you for answering that question. And we really appreciate you sharing all things that make you happy, Nisha. We really appreciate your time. Thanks for listening to the podcast. We hope it gives you something to think about on your quest to discover what makes you happy. Make sure to check out whatmakesyouhappypodcast.com to connect with today's guest and follow us on all our social media platforms and to stay up to date at what's happening next at What Makes You Happy. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend, and we'll see you next time.